Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is more of a video essay I am doing on the time on this video of mine. I never planned to make videos on topics that are outside of K-pop and anime before in this channel, but my channel, so I will just do it anyways. Today I will be talking about literary interpretation. The first question is, what is literary interpretation? Literary interpretation is a section of literature studies where the reader, critics or researcher tends to read and analyze a specific piece of literature and then makes different interpretations based on that read or research, critical analysis and alike. Now, why literature and art in general tends to have so many different interpretations? The obvious answer is the ambiguity and subtlety in the nature of art and literature. The symbolisms of various kinds and structural differences tends to create different atmosphere and aura surrounding a specific literature piece and others alike. Keeping a safe space for different interpretation with different conclusions or different perspective is one of the biggest purpose of literature. Now the question comes, how do we know which interpretation is the correct interpretation? The answer is, none. But that doesn't mean it's completely without any forms of boundaries. The interpretations need to cover the crux of the literature, has to cover the representative elements, etc. It can't be fully out of touch. The interpretation needs to be within a specific range of structural boundaries. Now, within those ranges, which one is the most valid? The answer here is, unless it's fully ubiquitous, one interpretation won't be more valid than other interpretations. Both are, after all, interpretations that represents the piece of art from two different pieces, with all its subtlety. Now, here's the most important aspect of it all, the aspect from which the interpretation is solely born, the perspective of the reader itself, reader. Perspective. What does reader perspective mean in literary interpretation? In the soul of the literary interpretation exists the reader's perspective of a certain literature piece. Different reader tends to have different perspective about the same writing piece or poetry piece. Different reader tends to process literature differently. Even when a reader is looking for subtle, hidden meaning in a writing piece, they might come with different perspective or conclusion about what that piece of art pertains. So, is literature something that reflects the perspective, story of only what the writer intends to represent, or is it a form of existence that is supposed to act like a mirror to reflect the psychology of the reader to not only the reader, but also people who are aware of the perspective of that reader, aka the readers of the analysis of the literature of another reader? When an individual is reading any form of writing, fiction, non-fiction, poetry and alike, they tend to look at the material and think of it as what it is. They tend to find something they can comprehend, they can relate with, resonate with, vibe with. And then based on what they feel about the writing and how they comprehend it, they interpret it. They critique it based on things they feel is wrong or not acceptable. And appreciate things they agree with, sympathize, empathize or relate to. Their perspective of a certain form of literature is not only a representative of what that literature tends to uphold, but also a representative of how they view a specific piece of writing and their psychology of entertainment, ethics, morals, tolerance itself. And then there's the phenomenon that is inevitable in this practice of reading, the interpretation being variedly different and taking a completely different twist from which the writer themselves have originally intended. In the first place, even to begin with, the writer in here works a form of agent on not only creating a creative piece of literature, but more so creating an art piece that can be modified and enhanced or changed in a certain way that might represent something entirely different than what it started out to be and what it originally intended to be. Literature is a form of art that, despite its very specific boundaries, is more fluid than visual art itself. It's a form of creative existence that can be manipulated to take any shape, form, property, etc. It's a form of art and creative expression, creative existence that not only allows the writer to express their own thoughts and creativity on it, but also allows the readers to have a chance scope to morph that expression by combining it with their own psychology and perspective itself. Now, why is literary interpretation important? Well, simple answer is, it has the ability to influence people and their perspective on an inner level. And has the ability to be influenced by the inner realm of other people, so to speak. It's a form of art that binds different consciousnesses of different human minds within the crux and boundaries of a specific structure. The influence that it pertains on different people is what makes it important, powerful even. So powerful that it can create a community based off of its expression, and here's the dark side about it too. These interpretation often might promote violent, dangerous, ignorant ideas too. Something maybe even when the writer themselves didn't plan for. Look at how people treated Lolita for its surface level interpretation, for example. Or even the manga Killing Stalking, for example. I will be talking in depth about how different interpretation can occur within the realm of literature. Analysis later on any other video of mine. For now, these are just a couple of my fruitful thoughts on literary interpretation. That's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more upcoming contents of mine in future. Don't forget to comment down below about what you think about this topic. Until then, thanks for watching and bye bye.